Hey folks, it's Jim. I'm going to do a quick update on the two cities in China video. I was watching the financial news and a video came on, or a headline came up, and this is a reputable news channel on mainstream television, so it's not an internet headline or something like that. It's a real viable news release. But here it is. China to create immigration office to lure overseas talent to help drive the transition of their economy. When I did the video on the two cities of China, that's exactly what I spoke of, which was that those two cities aren't for the Chinese, they're for the influx, a massive influx of the world's best, brightest, most talented, and hardest working people. The same strategy that made the United States great. Provide the hardest working, best, and brightest people of the world with a place that is productive and conducive to economic freedom, and they will start arriving. And I believe that's what China's done with this. And now, as you see this press release, they are openly admitting they're going to start luring the best and brightest minds over there. And that's what made America great. If you didn't watch the first video, I alluded to that. America was built on immigration of the world's best, brightest, and hardest working. And that's what made us a great nation. China's just following our playbook. That's all they're doing. Only they're having a different take on Keynesian economics. And I think I'm going to do a whole series on this as we go down the road, and that will explain that more. But let's redo that headline again. China to create immigration office to lure overseas talent to help drive the transition of their economy, to help shake its dependency on manufacturing and investment, and avoid the middle income trap that has stalled developing economies from Asia to South America. This would also include African economies that have failed. And as you know, the IMF had baited South American nations into debt and then extrapolated the wealth and resources and things of that nature, put pressure on them, so forth, restructured many debts, failed economies, as you know. Debt economies don't work. So that's why I emphasize the debt-to-income ratio of the United States and China, the debt to GDP, the debt per capita, national debt per capita, versus us in China, and the big stark differences between us. Their growth rate is 4 times greater than ours. Our growth rate has stalled. Europe's growth rate has stalled. Most of the developed world has stalled growth rise, hence negative interest rates, right? Okay. So I just wanted to share that. There's something else China has the advantages over. One is they can control their internal economy much more swiftly than we can. So they can set the price of grains, loaf of bread, food, those types of things within the country, and thereby keep the currency strong internally. The United States could do, and has taken such measures in the past, but China is much more prepared today to do it than anybody else. Also, something that I found significant is China is now, I think, the #1 grain producer in the world. It was Europe. It used to be the United States. Remember when we used to produce grain? Remember when we used to make dog food? Remember when we used to be a productive nation? Okay, China is doing all the very same things now that we once did that made us great. We're now a service-based economy. And we can't survive on that, folks. As robotics, I just heard another report on that from a really wise economist, that the more we get technologically advanced, the less jobs that are out there, the more jobs that are eliminated. And some of these jobs are reasonably good paying jobs. Lab techs is the next one to go. In fact, they're predicting that lab techs will be completely eliminated in the future. There will not be needed anymore. You just need somebody to draw the blood, and machines will handle it from there and run all the tests. And isn't that a scary world? You know what I mean? Imagine if the mistake is digitally made with your blood, right? It's almost as bad as letting a machine drive a car for you, as we're recently seeing the tragedies that result from that. Technology is a wonderful thing, but hey, it also has its pitfalls, and it's also a great deception. The more technologically advanced we get, the less us humans are needed. That's the bottom line. That's part of the growing disparity between the haves and the have-nots, I also might add. As we technologically advance, we're less and less needed. Okay? And the productive countries of the world, such as China, can employ their people because they have production jobs that don't require education. Unfortunately, in America, all we've done is thrust our young into debt to try and get educated to take on certain jobs. But what a way to start life, $40,000 in debt. That's a travesty, you know, and it's complete ignorance to think that somehow a successful economy can be built that way. No, it can't. Only in the Keynesian philosophy which is completely foolish, by the way, can any of this work, right? Fiat currencies and Keynesian philosophies are an illusion. They are a great deception. It's the way the mega wealthy extrapolate the real wealth from economies and the world and leave the people holding the debt bag. And that's why our taxes are all so high. In Europe, in Canada, in the United States, look at what we have to pay in taxes. And this is the reason why. Because of these economic models. They don't work. They don't work for the people. They work for the wealthy, not for the people. So I hope most of you have studied this and understand it. Most of you who watch my channel do and have studied. So I just wanted to share that with you. To lure overseas talent to help drive the transition of their economy. What transition? Have you looked that up, what China's doing economically? Think about it. Remember, folks, we're only 350 million people. It is our very pompousness and arrogance that is going to be our demise as a nation. We believe it can't happen to us. We believe we're the greatest economy in the world. No, wrong answer. We're only 350 million consumers. China has 1.2 billion. India has 1.1 billion. We are nothing. And becoming less and less and less significant every year. They're trading outside the dollar all over the world now. That's what the Asiatic National Bank was for, right? You know, it's absurd to think we continue on. At China's current growth rate, they're going to overtake us in 5 to 7 years as the world's largest economy. They're already doing steel, grain. What's next? Is China become the most productive in? We're the most productive really in nothing but importing. We import everything. But what do we export, folks? Think about it. What do we export anymore? Even grain has gone down. And once we dominated the world in food exports. Now look at us. Everything we used to be is no more, ladies and gentlemen. Start looking it up and look at what China is doing. They are becoming everything we once were that made us great. Anyway, let me repeat the headline. China to create immigration office to lure overseas talent to help drive the transition of their economy. Again, this isn't Henny Penny, the sky is falling, all that stuff. Okay, I'm extremely tired right now, by the way. But it is a shot across the bow. It's time to wake up, folks, and to see what's happening. And to start noticing that the world's best and brightest are going to start getting lured to China for better opportunities. Hey, have a good one. I'll try and continue this series and get more numbers. Jim out.